There's a brand new trailer for Chapter 4, and it has people asking a million questions about Kissy Missy. Everyone thought she was gone, but we see she's alive. Just barely. Now the biggest mystery is how she survived that scream-filled attack at the end of Chapter 3. Was it luck? Or did someone step in to save her? We're going to dig into all the hints to see what really went down. Kissy Missy's survival sounds like good news. But it's full of questions. In the new trailer, she looks hurt. She has what looks like bloody marks on her arm and around her waist, and part of her fur is missing near her head. How does a massive toy survive a sneak attack that nearly rips her apart? She was screaming in Chapter 3, and it felt like there was no way she'd make it out in one piece. Yet here she is, alive and moving. The problem isn't just about how Kissy Missy survived, though. It's also about who might have attacked her. Was it one of the new creatures lurking in the lower levels? Was it the prototype, who seems more dangerous than ever? And if she was saved, who had the strength or courage to do it? None of this adds up unless we accept that there's someone else behind the scenes, helping in ways we never saw before. Let's break down the clues we have. The new trailer shows Kissy Missy in two different moments. In one shot, she looks almost fine. You can see straps or some kind of wrap around her body, though it's unclear what that is. In another shot, you see the back of her body covered in what looks like blood or damage. Her fur is missing in chunks, and it's clear she's been in a fight. Still, she's moving well enough to hit a door open. That suggests she isn't fully healed, but not so hurt that she can't defend herself. At the end of Chapter 3, she was separated from us when we tried to send the lift back up to her. Then she screamed as if something big or powerful attacked her. Poppy is tiny, so she wouldn't be able to fight off a giant monster alone. Someone else had to help, right? That's where Ollie might come in. We heard Ollie's voice in Chapter 3, giving tips and sending items like keys or batteries. We never saw him in person, so we don't know what he looks like or how big he is. Yet he clearly had some control over the environment. He was able to make things appear in ways that suggested he's physically moving around the factory. If Ollie can do that for us, maybe he can also step in when Kissy Missy's in danger. Another clue is in the new trailer. We hear what sounds like Ollie's voice saying things like, "He's outside," or "I failed you." The subtitles confirm it's Ollie. That means he's still active in Chapter 4, still able to give warnings. It's possible he helped Kissy Missy escape the attacker in Chapter 3, then continued to assist in Chapter 4. After all, the factory is full of horrors. But who did the actual attacking? A lot of people suspect the prototype. It's known to be controlling or working with the Doctor, who might be connected to Harley Sawyer. They seem to be calling the shots in the lower levels. However, the attack on Kissy Missy could have happened higher up, right after Chapter 3 ended. Could the prototype travel there? It might. It's shown signs of being powerful and clever enough to strike anywhere, especially if it's working with other mechanical units or bigger toys. The new trailer suggests other new threats too, like the doe-like creature called Doey, the huge YNAB character, and the dinosaur-like Pianosaurus. But from what we've seen, those characters stay mostly in the lower parts of the factory. That makes them less likely suspects for the sudden ambush on Kissy Missy right at the top. It's also worth noting that the prototype loves to use intimidation. We've heard it drop its voice in a deep, menacing way, and the new trailer has a moment where someone says, "I've got something special," then lowers their voice. That might be the prototype's tactic. If it's powerful enough to scare huge toys, it could definitely tear into Kissy Missy. Yet she lived. If she ran away, how did she manage to escape something as fast and strong as the prototype? A direct fight would be a nightmare. That's why the theory about Ollie stepping in makes sense. Maybe Ollie recognized the threat, jumped in, and pulled Kissy Missy out. He could have led her through an alternate path that the prototype couldn't block. We also have the phone connection. If Ollie is physically moving around, we're probably carrying his phone so he can talk to us. That means he can't speak to us directly while saving Kissy. Or maybe he has more than one communication device, or there's some secret network of phones. The factory is filled with old technology, so who knows? Kissy's injuries seem bad, but not fatal. She might be more durable than a standard toy because of how these bigger bodies were designed. They might have extra layers of synthetic muscle or some kind of living tissue that can survive serious damage. The big question is how far the prototype went in that attack. Did it try to fully destroy Kissy Missy, or did something interrupt it midway? The key moment is the realization that Kissy Missy's survival must be tied to someone else's intervention. The trailer only gives us short flashes. We see her battered body and hear Ollie's voice. We know Poppy is too small to help in a fight. We also know we weren't there because we ended up going down the lift. That narrows it down to Ollie or some unknown force. All of this sets up a huge question for Chapter 4. Is Ollie strong enough to stand against the prototype or other threats? If he did rescue Kissy, will we team up with both of them later? The idea of a secret ally in the factory is exciting, especially if we've only heard him on the phone. We also have to consider whether Ollie might have an agenda of his own. In the end, Kissy Missy's injuries show that a serious fight took place. The new trailer highlights that she's still alive, but heavily hurt. The simplest explanation is that Ollie saved her from whatever attacked her, probably the prototype. Every other suspect is too far below or accounted for in the new areas, so the prototype remains the biggest danger. Ollie seems to have the ability to move around, drop items, and keep us informed. It's not a stretch to think he'd jump in to rescue Kissy Missy. There's a big chance Chapter 4 will finally show us Ollie in person, and we might learn more about his motives. Was he always on our side, or is he just using us for his own plan? The same goes for Kissy Missy. She might be helpful, but her injuries and rage could make her unpredictable. Now that we're seeing the factory's darkest corners, it's likely we'll get answers to these mysteries soon. Subscribe and click here to watch more.